proud of my peers. Okay, this is great for mental health and awareness. How many of you would say that you have a good opportunity to talk to your teen child on a regular basis? That's me. How many of you would like to have an opportunity to have more conversations with your child? That's me. Okay. How many of you have had an experience with a mental health activity like this before? Okay. How many of you know someone personally who's been affected by their mental health? That's amazing. I don't think there's anybody who hasn't been. And anyone who has had an experience with someone who has been challenged by mental illness? That's amazing. So one of the reasons that I put this presentation together is because sometimes I talk about mental illness, sometimes I talk about mental health, but basically today what we're going to do is talk about all of it. And the promotion that I want to talk about is the positive aspects of it, and getting some clarification on some of the things that we can do to really bring positive teen mental health. And we're going to be focusing on kids today, but it's all extrapolated into our lives as well. Okay, so I've got some things here. I don't know, did you guys pick up pens at the desk? Yeah. Okay, I guess I should have these before I started my spiel. I think we need some scissors, but you've got some good nails in there. Let's see if I've got some scissors in here. Oh, here we go. I got scissors. Okay. Yeah, got it. So what I'm going to ask you to do is just take a card. Oh, I'm in blank. That's okay. So just take a card, and I'll take one. Thank you. So just pass around some cards. Pass around everything. Okay, great. Okay. So pass around a card. If you don't have a pen, I do have some pens here. So if you want to just kind of borrow a pen, that's great. Anybody else needing a pen? Awesome. Okay. Good stuff. Thank you. Yeah. I love Mark. You're running around, aren't you? Anybody else? Okay, great. So, why are you here? Whenever I was in the classroom, it was the very first slide I showed my students every day of the first day of class. Why are you here? Now they're like, well, do we have to be? You do not have to be. And ultimately, a lot of times when I taught senior grades, they didn't have to be. They chose the class. They chose it from a series of electives, much like you did this morning. So what I'd like is on your index card, if you don't mind, putting your full name, your contact information. If you have an email, that'd be great. The reason I'm going to ask you to do this is at the end, I'm going to collect the cards if you wish to give it to me. And what I will do is I will send you the entire presentation in its entirety, because I will skip over a few things due to time restraints, because I'm very verbal and sometimes I get off track. And I will send you exactly what you're going to see, so that you have all the information, all of the clips and things I'm going to show you at your fingertips to go home and check it out. Okay? And I promise I'll try and get that to you by Monday. Okay? And the other thing is I want you to answer this question. What brought you here to this session today? It could be a question that you have about mental health in teens or children. It might be just a general statement of what you're interested in, anything. What brought you here to this session today? And just take a minute to write those thoughts down. You have the whole card to do. If you need another card, got another card.
I have two children here at White Oaks, one in grade 9, one in grade 11. And I'm here to look for tools to support my children.
Tools. Yeah, okay. Who else? Sure.
Cheryl, I have 3 children, one in grade 12, one in grade 9, and one in JK. Big range. My eldest is using marijuana fairly regularly. Concerns around that, concerns around some of the relationships he's had that have been somewhat risky. Couple of relationships where he's been involved with people that have been both attempted suicide. Not really knowing where he's at because he keeps everything very much bottled up. Doesn't talk about where he's at and whatnot. My daughter, who's in grade 9, has a tendency to remove herself from situations, so she spends a lot of time isolating herself. So I have concerns around that as well. No comments on my youngest.
That's a work in progress.
He's sometimes my easiest, my go-to to make me feel better.
Isn't it amazing when you have little ones and automatically your whole world just brightens?
Yeah.
And then you think of your teenager's just like, oh God. You know? Okay, thank you so much. Anyone else want to share?
Hi, I'm Catherine. I have 2 of 3 kids. One's in grade 9 here, one's in grade 7, one's in grade 5. And my biggest thing for my oldest that's here is having a tough time adjusting to high school, as am I as a parent. And I feel I have such limited time with him. How can I talk to him? Because like you were saying, he keeps a lot inside and he plays hockey and I don't have a lot of time with him. So how do I not get at things in my short time?
Awesome. Anything else from Shiv? Hi.
My name's Glenn, I have 3 kids, twin boys in grade 6 in Boxdale and a daughter in Rolling Meadows. She just switched this year. And 2 weeks ago she came and said, Mommy, I think the world is a better place without me.
Oh, that's very hard.
And I have nowhere to go.
Well, we have lots of places to help you go. Absolutely, lots of places to help you go. And we'll definitely connect at the end of the session for sure to make sure that you leave here with some tools so that you know where to go. Because there's lots. Anyone else? Can you share over here? Okay, thank you. Well, we are going to not talk about all of this. We are going to talk about strategies today about defining what it is. And hopefully by giving you some very simple strategies. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a little journey today. And we're going to take you kind of back in time a little bit. And we're going to, I'm actually going to challenge you that you actually have a lot more tools than you think you do. One of the things I want to relate to Ms. Clinton, Dr. Clinton, is she talked about relationships. They are so incredibly formidable in the adolescent years because it's hard to have relationships with teenagers because they often don't tell us what they're thinking, right? What I'm thrilled about is she talked a lot about the brain, and I'm going to tell you a lot about your teenagers' brains today. It's not a whole lecture about the brain, but I'm talking about specific things that are going to be interesting, hopefully, to you so you understand a little bit more about it in our time together. Okay? So first, the lingo. We're talking about 2 things today. And what I'm trying to do is clarify, because we throw around the word mental health, mental illness, mental health problem, mental health disorder, and we're thinking, okay, what does all of this stuff mean? So I want to be really clear that they are different things. Mental health. This is the World Health Organization's definition of mental health. It's a state of well-being, which the individual realizes his or her own capabilities. They can cope with the normal stresses of life, up and down, not all good, and happy, but up and down in life, and I can cope with that. I can cope with the ups, and I can cope with the downs. I am working productively, fruitfully, and I'm able to make a contribution to my community. I'm able to go to work, I'm able to go to school, I'm able to go and join my friends, I'm able to go out and socialize, I'm able to do the things in my life that I want to do. I'm able to set goals. I am productive. That is the definition of mental health. Mental illness is very different. Mental illness refers to a wide range of disorders that are medical disorders that affect your mood, your thinking, and your behavior, and that can be treated and or diagnosed and treated. They are medical conditions. They are medical conditions that affect what part of the brain, or what part of the, oh, I just gave it, there you go. What part of the body? This thing. Don't you like my little squishy ball? It's my stress buster. I got this at a conference once. This thing, that's probably a bit bigger, I hope, in my head. Mental illnesses are disorders of the brain. Much like heart disease is a disorder of the heart. Liver disease is a disease of the liver. Colon, etc. Kidneys, my knee, my foot, my ear, my sinuses, which were like so clogged last week you wouldn't even probably understand me when I was speaking. It is an organ in your brain. It is an organic thing that is the most sophisticated organic computer on the planet. And each of us has one. Marveling at these things, these individual things that organically are constructed, that are like our own little computer. But it, like any other part of our body, can get sick. It can misfire. If you were listening to Jean Clinton talk, there are so many thousands of connections in the brain. It's no wonder that sometimes one goes, I'm stuck. Or it doesn't fire right, or it doesn't do the thing that you want. And just like my knee, you'll see me walking and I'll go, and I'll have to like just, because these 48-year-old knees just don't do what they did when I was 5. And if I fall down harder than I used to, much like my brain is now 48. And it just doesn't do what it used to, the same way that it used to, but then again it does other things that it never used to do before, because my experience is, this is an organ in our body, and it can get sick. And when it gets sick, and it's diagnosed by a doctor, and it's treated, we call it mental illness. Yet in our society, what do we shun? Exactly, because if anything's happening to our mood, our ability to think, people believe that there's something wrong with us. Yes, there is something wrong with you. It's your brain, and it's broken, and we need to help you fix it, just like your knee, or your liver, or your heart, or your whatever. So please, if I can dispel one myth, we need to get over ourselves. Because one of the hardest things when you have an illness of the brain is that it affects your thinking, which is quite scary. And you make choices, and you say things, and you feel things that you can't control. And that's what makes it very scary for people. But I can tell you, if I had found out that somebody had heart disease in my life, I would be just as scared, right? So I'd want to be able to do something about it. So today we're going to focus on mental health. We're going to talk a little bit about mental illness at the end. But most of all, we're going to talk about our kids and how we might, come on in, please, and how we might be able to go back to the things that we know really well how to do so that we can remember that mental health is a state of wellness that we all can achieve. Okay? So, the stats. Jean talked about mental illness. 1 in 5 Canadians will experience a mental illness in their lifetime. They're actually now saying in the United States it may be closer to 1 in 4. Okay, so it's actually increasing. 5 in 5 Canadians has mental health. Isn't that great? Every single one of us has mental health. We should be rejoicing in it every single day. When you wake up in the morning and you gotta go to work and go, I have mental health! I'm here, I'm breathing, I'm doing all the things I need to do. We all have mental health. And sometimes I think we forget that. We have physical health as well. And since the brain is part of the body, it's all interconnected, right? So what I'd like to show you is just a way to understand this. A lot of people think that the continuum of mental health and mental illness is like, okay, I'm over here and I'm healthy, and over here I'm sick. And then there's something in between, I'm getting there. And that is one continuum that's very, very common. You can see it and it's very valid. Personally, I ascribe to this, which is a 2 continuum model. I'd like to offer that they're actually on 2 different axes. Okay? So if we think this is mental health, there are times when I am very mentally healthy. And there are times when I am really not mentally healthy. I might have had something happen, I was really sick a couple weeks ago, I was down in bed, I was physically not healthy, and I was tired, and I was grumpy, and I was irritable, and I was not coping well with the things. I couldn't come to work, I was sick. And, you know, I was down, I was thinking, darn, I have that thing, and I was feeling low, my mood was low. My father died last year. It was a very long and horrible, he was 85. We were waiting for him to die. And you know what? My mental health was affected. I was going up and down through all of those 2 years that the old guy took to die. Poor thing, okay? And actually, my mental health improved when he died because that whole terrible ordeal was over. Isn't that ironic, eh? I was so pleased for him because the suffering was gone. And then I was able to regain my mental health again. So this is a continuum that we constantly go down, up and down, depending on circumstances of life. Because as the conditions of life change, our mental health is going to change and adapt to it, right? So it's our physical health. The other line is mental illness. Most people, most of the time, do not have symptoms of mental illness. There's no diagnosable and treatable symptom of disease. And then there are times when those symptoms might start to creep into your life, and to the point where you may actually be diagnosed and treated, hopefully, for a mental illness. Depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, ADD, by the way, is a mental illness of the brain. So what I'd like to suggest to you is, what happens in these 4 quadrants? Any math people out here? This is where I love it, because I can do a numeracy moment. This is a math moment, because I'm talking about quadrants. I'm very excited. What about these quadrants? Well, normally we think about quadrant 1 a lot. No mental illness and good mental health. This is where we'd like most people to live. And that's where generally most people, I hope, live, is in quadrant 1. No mental illness and very good mental health. We also think about the opposite very often, because we're one about black and white, right? We think about quadrant 3 a lot. We think about living with a mental illness, and I'm really not coping well with my mental health. Probably because of my mental illness, I'm not coping well. And we look at them as opposites. What we don't often think about is quadrant 4. Quadrant 4, I have no mental illness, but I'm just not coping well. I'm not doing well in my life. I'm not able to cope very well. I find myself really struggling to do the things that I want to do. And some of us, time can be a factor. You know, I'm just so stressed. How many of you, going back to that's me, how many of you can say that in the last 24 hours you have said, man, do I ever feel stressed? Or, man, I wish I had more time. Come on in. Come on in. No, it's okay. Okay? And sometimes, if we say that often enough, we're here. We may not have a mental illness, but we're not coping well. Okay? And again, we're going up and down this line like crazy. The one that very few people think about, except those with a mental illness, is quadrant 2. Living with a mental illness and having good mental health. Now that one, sometimes people are like, what are you talking about? That can't be right. How can you have a mental illness and have good mental health? You can. You've gone to a doctor, you're in treatment, and you're doing well. You're coping. Yeah, you're coping, you're living. You've got your kids, your family, you're going to work. You're taking medication maybe you're going to see your therapist, maybe you're in some kind of program of some kind, right? Recovering addictions are all in here, right? They're not drinking anymore, but they're still recovering. Right? So you have to think, it's not a stagnant thing. And quite frankly, the longer our lives get, the different places we can put ourselves. I have been on all 4 quadrants of this chart in my life. Now, looking at me right now, can you tell which one I am today? By looking at me, can you tell? And yet we think, ooh, having mental illness must have some sign. I have a diagnosable mental illness. I'm on medication. It's not severe, it's minor. But you get me in the month of January, and I will be farther down this line. Because I really need light, and I suffer from seasonal affective disorder. So when I lose light, and most importantly lose sleep, does that go down? My coping ability gets worse and worse. And has been diagnosed, it is being treated, and you wouldn't know that unless you maybe talk to me on a really bad day, and you think, whoa, what's going on with her, right? But you wouldn't notice, right? So what I'm trying to say is that mental illness is not something to be afraid of. It's something to be lived with. It means we have to access good resources. And we have to really believe that it's treatable. Right? And when we walk in this building, we have about 1,900 students in this building, and we know that 1 in 5. We know there's about 400 or so kids that are walking around with some form of mental health problem, disorder, that kind of thing. And the question is where are they on this line with it? And where are they on this line? This line is for doctors to do. This line is something we all can control. Okay? So today what I want to focus on is this line. How can we help our kids cope with the things we know we can help them cope with? Can't change whether or not they're going to have a mental illness. That's a diagnosable medical condition. And that I'm going to suggest you go to a doctor. Okay? And there's many, many good professionals out there. But as Jean was saying this morning, we don't have enough doctors to talk about this stuff. Like, we need to be able to control this stuff as much as we can. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. And everyone is on the grid. And you're going to be in a different part of the grid depending on what stage of life you're at. Okay. This is why I'm here. These are my 2 kids. On the left is Isaac. He is 18 years old. He's in his first year at Humber Lakeshore. He's doing a Bachelor of Film and Media Production. And he's home for the weekend, and I am here with you. But of course, as Jean said, he's still asleep, so I'm going to be back before he even wakes up. And on the right is Noah. He's in grade 10 at Milton District High School. These are my, and I totally agree with you with this, is that I have been teaching for 25 years, But I tell you, those two have made me the expert of everything that I sell, because they are the ones that give me the real life experience, because I actually go home with them. Your children I can send home, but these ones I actually have to live with. So what we're going to talk about is about their brains, this thing, and understanding a little bit more about this organ known as the teen brain. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to show you a little video. I will cut the lights so you can see it. It's about a 2-minute video from teenmentalhealth.org. By the way, awesome website, great website for resources, and it'll be at the end of the slide. If you give me your card, I guarantee you I'll send you the video. teenmentalhealth.org, fabulous Dr. Stan Kutcher, who's been to Halton, he's amazing, and he's doing amazing work out of Nova Scotia with the IWK Health Centre in Nova Scotia at Halton University. And there's a little thing about the teen brain. So what I'm going to do, and it goes really, really fast, this is why I'm giving it to you so you can watch it at home. Facts about the teen brain. Okay, facts about the teen brain. And I just want you to look, I didn't know that. I just want you to know maybe 1 or 2 or 3 things that you're thinking, wow, like, that's really cool, I didn't know that. Okay, are you ready? Kids brain. Some of the things that are really important to know, 12-20, this is an analogy, right? It's the analogy that the brain is like a computer, right? And it is, and as Jean said, under construction. They are not many adults, they are not many us, they do not have, none of our experience. And their brains, especially the frontal lobe part, the thinking rational part, is not developed. So please, 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 if there's one thing that I do, and I stop myself. When I'm expecting an adult response from a teenager is our #1 error as parents. I'm going to repeat that. Expecting an adult response of a teenager is our #1 error as parents. And particularly the little ones. Because sometimes I see adults talking to children. Don't you understand? No, I don't. I'm a kid. I don't get it yet. I haven't got this thing fully developed. And remember, this is such a tumultuous time for teens. There's so much going on. You can't think straight. Okay? And you'll get all these kind of things. I'm going to come back to this. So now we're going to go back. Any recollection of who these lovely little babies might be? And do you notice how you're all smiling? Yeah. Now you're smiling when they were the other pictures too, because they're like adorable. Okay, I have adorable children. But this is Isaac, day 1. This is Noah. Look at those chubby cheeks. 7¼ pounds. 9. 11. Yes, a 10-pounder, ladies and gentlemen. That's why he's chubby. Okay. Remember when? I want you to take a moment. Remember and visualize your babies. However old they are now, I want you to put them into this frame. When you first had them, you first held them. And if you had any complications at birth, once you knew they were good and they were safe and they were going to be coming home, I want you to imagine them then. And get into that frame. We're going back a little ways in the past. I want you to think about, and with a little elbow partner, I want you to talk about the 5 most important needs that your children had as babies, the things that you focused on the most when they were infants. I'm going to give you a minute to come up with just a list of things. What were the 5 most important things that you focused on when they were babies? Go.
Sleep.
Yeah, poop. Oh, Jesus, really isn't it? Food. Oh, I've got it. Just didn't call it poop. Food. Poop. As I call it. Yeah, what else?
Safety.
Sorry?
Sleep.
Sleep. That's what sent me into depression, yes.
Growth.
Growth, yes. And I'm going to I'll use your word, and then I'm going to talk my word, which is movement. Yep, what else?
They're happy.
Yeah, crying, soothing.
Cuddling. Soothing, cuddling, yep. Yeah, I'm going to put that under the growth. Yeah. You're missing one.
Shelter.
Well, yes, that.
Breathing.
There's something that goes along with food. What was their first food?
Oh.
Yeah, it's water. Water and milk, yeah. And it's actually fluids. You don't actually feed the baby, do you? You hydrate the baby. You hydrate them. Because we are mostly water. We must hydrate. And the growth part is in the milk. Okay? Yeah, you got them all. Okay, shelter, clothing, heat, warmth, all those kinds of things. Got it. I don't know, how many of you have seen this? know who Abraham Maslow is. If you've ever taken a sociology class or psychology class or a developmental psychology class, you're going to learn about Abraham Maslow. He worked many, many years ago. I love this guy. Isn't he cute? Okay, he's an adorable guy. And he had this thing called the hierarchy of needs. If you ever go into anything about people, you're going to learn about Maslow. I love Maslow. He's old. I get it. His theory is old. I get it. But what I love about Maslow's hierarchy is we have to build foundations from the bottom. And don't you notice what's very interesting about your list and his list? Physiological needs are the most important things for humans. I'll say it again. Physiological needs are the most important things for humans. Do you notice that this list and this list is very different? These things come up here. Every single one of the things you talked about, your concerns, are either a safety concern, like suicide, yeah, love and belonging concerns, that connection and bonding and relationships. Jean was all over this today, and I totally agree with her. The esteem and respect that they have in that whole thing. What is that stuff? Self-actualization. I teach this to kids, and I'm like, I still don't know what that means. But you know, the idea of us of really actualizing who we are as people, right? Wonderful way of looking at how humans develop. So what I'm going to present to you today is this. If you want to talk about mental health in kids, we need to seriously talk about when's the last time, okay, maybe not the poop. We're also crazy about the poop when they're little. Is it green, is it brown? Oh, it's brown, woohoo! You know, the meconium is out of it, woohoo! And we're all about how much and how little and blah, blah. Because it's important, right? Because it's talking about hydration and talking about food and stuff like that. But when's the last time we really focus on the foundation of what makes us well? Every single day. Because what we tend to do, especially with teenagers, is we focus on this stuff. Because, yeah, they've grown into very complicated human beings. Absolutely, I totally agree with you, I'm 100% there. But you give me any sophisticated problem and you come into my office, I'm going to go right back down to physiological and Maslow. That's what we're going to do. These 5 things. Breathing, food, water, hydration, sleep, and movement. Being able to move. Okay. Now, given these 5 basic needs for health, what I'd like you to do, individually, just for a moment, is I want you to rank the order of importance that these have in your child's life right now. Especially if you have a teenager. Teen, what order would you put them in? Just take a moment to rank them of how much time, attention, and intention that your teen gives them on a daily basis. Just think about that. Yeah, your teen, your eldest child. Because if you have a little toddler at home, you're probably doing a lot of this still. What order would you put them in? Any guesses? Sleep. Who put sleep number 1? Okay? What would come after sleep? Food. Food. If you got a boy, it's gonna be food. Either that or like jugs of milk or juice, which is hydration, right? Yeah. Okay. What's next?
Water.
Maybe water, yeah. What about movement? If you've got a boy, it's up there, it's ahead of water, yeah. This is normally what teens will do. You ask teens, and that is most often the rank they'll give them in their life. Sleep is first, food is next, movement, hydration. What? I gotta drink water? What are you talking about? And breathing. Now, it's okay that they're kind of out of whack, okay? It's whatever order they need them is that's the important thing. Well, what I'm going to talk about is for the developing infant brain and the developing teen brain. Do you notice that they're a little out of skew, right? The first thing we check with an adolescent or with an infant is what? Heavy breathing. Okay, I don't even know, do you put them on the sleep on their tummies now? Is it on the side, is it on the back? What's the theory? Who's got an infant who can tell me which way it is now? Because I apparently was going to kill my children. Because I did it the way they told me, and by the time my second one was born, I had to do something different. Is it back sleeping now? Because apparently if you put them the wrong way, they're going to die. Okay? And there's all these studies about breathing, and it's, of course, it's sudden infant death syndrome, they're worried about SIDS, okay? But breathing is so important when they're little. And then we back off and we're like, okay, they're still breathing, that's good. But we check their breathing. We always do when we go in at night, right?
Still do.
Okay. Yeah, isn't it great when you go in there? You know, you're like, oh yeah, they're there. Okay. Food, obviously, water were the two. And actually, water should actually come before food. I've misplaced it here. Because we do feed them through hydration first and then food. Solid foods don't start until what is the thing now? It used to be 3 months, now it's 6 months. I don't know. Sleep, how much sleep they're getting, right? Because normally babies have no problem sleeping. It's us that have the problem sleeping. And then movement, rolling over, pulling themselves up, we're crawling, a little shimmy they do on the carpet, and eventually they're walking and then running, and we make sure that they make those stages. Okay, they're different. It's because their brain is different and their needs are different. So what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about 2 of them today because I don't have enough time to talk about all 5, but the slides will be there. I think the middle three get a lot of attention in our society. We got the Canada Food Guide, you should have so many glasses of water a day, make sure that if you're exercising you have more water, make sure they're eating right, watch out for junk food, not a lot of sugar, watch out for juice because it can make them their teeth rot, blah, blah, blah. Movement, exercise, they should have so many minutes a day. I think that is very well hyped in our society. The fact is that we're not doing it. And we're not focusing on it enough. But I think we focus on those more than we do the other 2. If you have a teenager, this is probably the one that is the hardest on a lot of them. Like most of you, how many think that your teens at 10:45 will actually be awake right now? Mine won't. I got boys and they're not asleep. Or they're asleep. I can guarantee you they're asleep. Sleep is a huge thing for teens. Why? This is going back to the video. What is their brain doing? It's loading new modules, disposing of obsolete resources, it's pruning. Pruning is one of the terms that scientists use to talk about what the brain's actually doing. The brain is undergoing its second most crucial development stage, other than the one that it did from age 0 to 5. Second most crucial developmental stage. It is a busy part of your body. It is doing stuff while we're thinking, right now. All of them that are sleeping or playing or eating or playing video games or doing what they're doing, their brains are under a massive amount of construction. Sleeping helps your brain remember things. When do they actually learn their lessons from school? When they're asleep. It's when their short and long-term memory connect and they store to long-term memory, is when they sleep. Kids that don't sleep well don't learn well, period. It is a biological function. And so the next time you have, or you've catch yourself saying, you should be staying up a little bit later to make sure you've got that test study for. No, go to sleep. Take what you learned in that hour or 2 hours and go and let it process. Because sleep is more important than those extra hours of cramming. Never, ever is late night cramming a good idea for anyone. It won't go in. I'm telling you, it's not going to go in. Okay? And it will not be processed. The brain can only handle so much and then it needs to process. Okay? It is so important. This is going on. Brain pathways are being regenerated. Memory storage. Moving from short to long-term memory, they're starting to store as knowledge the things that they're learning during the day, and that includes experiences that they're having, right? And they need to consolidate all of that stuff. It's when the brain is quiet, when the body's quiet, that the brain can actually go, oh, okay, I learned some really cool stuff today. Let's put that into some memory, right? In a very simplistic way. Okay? Phase shift. Ever notice that teens want to sleep at really weird times and not like the rest of us? They used to be early birds. How many of you had little ones that used to wake up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning? Mama, wake up! Get out of bed! And they go, please give me another hour. Can you turn on the TV or something, right? Now they're night owls. They want to stay up late. My God, you don't even start up hanging with your friends until midnight. Geez, come on, Mom. You don't even start hanging. You don't even get off work till 11:30, and then we go hang out till 2 a.m., right? McDonald's is open late, right? It's the change in their circadian rhythm in their brain. Okay, their rhythm shifts, and they're biologically programmed to go to bed late and sleep in late. We can try and change it, and that's why when they wake up early, they're grumpy. A lot of them are very grumpy because you are actually stopping a natural process. Okay, and In the teen years, they actually need more sleep. Okay? They get less sleep than younger children, yet there's actually an increase in sleep needs during the teenage years. They need about 9 to 10 hours a night. And most of them are reporting getting far less. That leads to increased daytime sleepiness, especially at our school. We start at 8:05 in the morning. It is brutal. And all the research says we should be having later start times. But we adults say, no, 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 we can't do that because of this, 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 and this. And we are ignoring our own research. I tell you, Parent Involvement Council, if you really want to get on a bandwagon, you have teenagers, that's the bandwagon to join. Because we are going against their biological need to sleep in the morning. We wonder why they can't learn. And you're calculating this. So you calculate how many hours sleep your kids get. Mine is 10, like out of 10. My kids get about 8.5, so they're about an hour and a half in sleep debt every single night. And it adds up. And yes, you can get sleep debt. So can we, by the way. Whoops, sorry. So, they need more sleep than we do, so they are chronically sleep deprived, a lot of them, and I see them every day. No wonder they're late for school, sleepy at school, reluctant to be involved in extracurricular activities. I just don't feel like it, Mom, leave me alone, and they can be cranky. They show dramatically elevated levels of daytime sleepiness compared to adults. And it has a lot of negative effects. Self-regulation, like their behavior and emotional controls, and it can impede their learning and their attainment of their goals and their quality of life. So sleep is so important in the teen years. So what can we do? Well, you can go online and find all sorts of sleep techniques, but these are the ones that I encourage if you have sleepy teens. One, the more kids buy into the understanding that they need to sleep, the more you're likely to get a winner about that, about them taking that seriously, that maybe they're not getting what they need. Electronics. Screen time is very, very bad because it sets off centers in the brain, the light, sets off centers in the brain to wake you up. So if they've got a screen in front of them right before they're trying to sleep, no wonder they can't sleep. Now I know this is going to start the arguments of the century, but if you explain, honey, you're always telling me about how sleepy you are. Is there another activity that doesn't include screen time that you could have before you go to bed that might be better than listening to music? Now, with your headphones on is probably not the kind I'm talking about, but at a low volume, maybe reading a book, God forbid, not on their iPad, please. Something that is soothing, kind of something they enjoy, okay? Or just maybe being calm, and I'm going to give you a suggestion in a minute. Catching up on the weekends does help. It's not the same as getting every night, but please let them catch up on the weekend. It actually does help. It helps to start clearing some of that sleep debt. And take a nap. Napping is a very good skill to learn, as long as it's less than an hour. Otherwise, they get into their sleep cycles, and it will really mess up their sleep, their rhythm. But napping, especially for under half an hour, is a very good strategy. You can teach and suggest to your teens, also for yourselves, and it's an excellent way of trying to mitigate that sleep need. And when you find, I don't know about you, but when you're sleepy, how productive are you? Right? How much can you absorb? So we have to start, as Jim was saying, like relationships, having communications about this stuff. They're old enough to understand this. I get this to teens all the time. They're like, wow, that's really cool. Show them the video. Fascinates them. They're like, wow, that's so cool, right? I never lose that on my brain, right? So I've got food, water, movement. I want to go to this one. This boggles my mind. Because most of it's unconscious, thank God. Can you imagine logging consciously 70,000 thoughts? Oh, how many thoughts have you had just being in this room for the last 50 minutes? Like, seriously, it boggles my mind. Every movement that I've taken at my pace, how many signals has my brain received? All of my actions. It's mind-boggling. There's probably about 1 million while I've been standing here. Not 1 million, 70,000 thoughts, okay? So, how many times have you heard these kinds of things from your kids? Or from you? I can't turn my brain off. I can't sleep, Mom. I can't stop these thoughts from coming through. Oh my God, I'm so upset about this. Can't get it out of my head, Mom. I can't get it out of my head. Right? Question. Don't you think that's just the biggest irony? I think too much. So let me think about about that a little bit more so I can think some more about the thinking that is making me crazy. That is, by the way, human biology. We're all programmed that way. It's not just me. Oh, thank God. We're all programmed that way. It's our brain, because our brain is actually, it sets against us, okay, to think our way through problems. Is your mind full? Are you mindful? And this leads to the last one. It's the one that we least think about. Breathing. I'm going to do a little experiment with you. All you need to do is make a fist. Really strong, hard, okay? And I'm going to ask you to do it in a second, okay? You're going to make a really, really strong fist and you're going to squeeze, okay? Ready? Go. What happened to your breathing?
Good morning. Just a reminder that there are 5 minutes left for this session. Speakers, if you can please start winding up now.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Okay. You stop breathing. How much of our life is spent like that? Stress, time, most of it. We're cut off. Oh, by the way, when they were babies, oh my God, are they breathing? Why are we not worrying about this? And why are we worrying about ourselves? We're not breathing at all well. And it's the number one thing we do. Imagine how many breaths we take in a day. And if we're not taking good breaths, why are we not surprised that we're stressed? Why are we not surprised that we're not healthy? And it's the least important. These are the things you get from breathing. Now, fist. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Fist. Okay. I want you to take a deep breath. And notice what's happening to your hand. What's happening? It wants to open. Okay, do it again. Take a deep breath. And let it out. Take another one. What's happening to your fist? It's so simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. It doesn't cost anything. You don't have to learn anything special. You don't need any equipment. You can do it anywhere, anytime. Man, this is the best thing going. But why aren't we doing it? It's so simple. It makes you feel good. Do you feel better? Does that feel better when you unclench, right? We reset the clock. And we did that for all of 10 seconds? Easy breezy. Breathing, and I'm going to talk about mindfulness, being mindful. Some people call it meditation. They're going, whoa, meditation, woo, airy fairy. They've been doing it in Eastern philosophies for centuries. And we wonder why they're so healthy over there. We think it's because they eat rice and big vegetables. That's part of it too, food, right? They eat water, okay? But they breathe. They breathe as regular practice every single day. It's a state of active, open attention on the present. That's what Jean was saying. How often do we live right now? We're together right now. Is there anything else that we could actually be doing right now? No. Then why are we thinking about it? Right now in this moment, what do we need? And not judging good or bad, just letting your life pass you by. It's living in the moment and awakening to what is now. That's all it is. A present here. And breathing helps you stay in the moment because the breath is the natural rhythm. You don't even realize you're doing it all that many times a day. You know you're thinking, but do you know that you're breathing? And I challenge you that if you become aware of your breathing, your life, your mental health will be 100 times better in a very short period of time. By the way, there's tons and tons and tons of research on this. Tons of research. It's in its infancy, but studies now show that literally these techniques can do wonders for things like depression, memory, well-being. They're doing studies with a lot of adults with a lot of different kinds of diseases and finding miraculous kinds of discoveries of what it can be applied to. And it is so simple. if we practice. We don't have time to do this. I've got a little video. Dan Harris is an anchor of ABC News. He had a panic attack on the air about 7 years ago. Full-blown panic attack. And online, if you Google Dan Harris panic attack, you can see it. He had a panic attack. And that led him, and he's a big kind of guy, and he's now a spokesman for mindfulness. And there's a little video that you can watch when I send you the video. And what he does is he talks about how simple it can be. Actually, maybe we'll end that way, because I've got all about 30 seconds, and this is about a 2-minute video. Are you okay with that? If I end with this?
As you may have heard, meditation does not involve joining a group, paying any fees, wearing any special outfits, sitting in a funny position, or believing in anything in particular. It is simple, secular, scientifically validated exercise for your brain. You don't have to do it yet, but just so you know, here are the 3 steps. 1, sit with your back straight and your eyes closed. 2, notice the feeling of your breath coming in and going out. Pick a spot where it's most prominent. Usually that's your nose or your chest or your belly. And just focus your full attention on the feeling of your breath coming in and going out. Now as soon as you try to do this, your mind's going to go nuts. You're going to start thinking about, what am I going to have for lunch? Why did I say that dumb thing to my boss? Your brain's going to go nuts, and that's fine. The whole game is to notice when you've gotten lost and to start over. And then to start over again, and again, and again. Every time you do that, it's like a bicep curl for your brain, and it shows up on the brain scan. Scientists have found this in the lab. It's also, by the way, a radical act. You're breaking a lifetime's habit of walking around in a fog of projection and rumination, and you're actually focusing on what's happening right now. Meditation is unlike anything you do in the rest of your life. Failure is actually success. As I said, the whole game is just trying, failing, starting again, failing, starting again. Here's my advice. You should be meditating every day, 5 to 10 minutes a day. That's it. This doesn't require some giant investment. I don't care how busy you are, you have 5 to 10 minutes to give this a shot. I guarantee you it will make a big difference.
There's all sorts of little ones that he has, Dan Harris. He's got all sorts of these. Oh, stop! Thank you. He has all sorts of these little videos. So I'm going to take 30 seconds of your time. I'm stealing 30 seconds of your time. By the way, there's more on the PowerPoint. I'll get to that in a moment. This is how I want to end. I want you to sit comfortably with your back straight. I practice what I teach every day. Okay? And I just want you to close your eyes if you're comfortable. And I just want you to take a very, very slow breath in. And a very, very, very slow breath out. And focus your attention on where your breath, you can sense it. Do you sense it coming in your nose? Do you feel it in your chest? Do you feel it in your stomach? Can you trace the flow of the oxygen as it starts in an inhale? And it really sinks in. Rhythmic. When you do this, really try thousands of times a day and become aware of how much you do it to allow you to be in the moment. I challenge you to find not even 5 to 10 minutes. Find 5 times in your day of 1 minute and see how you feel after. Okay? I thank you for coming. There's much more on the PowerPoint, particularly talking about how we integrate this in the overall plan. If you have any questions, I'm happy to stay, but I'm going to let you get to your next session.
All right, on behalf of Parental Development Committee, I want to thank you for coming.